We'll look back on all the action from yesterday and get the guys' thoughts on all the big talking points in Scottish football right now. But for the moment, we can settle back and enjoy the final live action of the weekend. It is in Dingwall. It's Ross County against Celtic, and it's live here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland with Jim McInally, Richard Foster and Rob McLean.
Let you go on with your dashing white sergeant, Richard, back in the studio. Talk to you at half-time. Celtic, meantime, dashing towards the finishing line and not far away from it now in terms of back-to-back titles for Ange Postecoglou and his team. It's not quite bottom against top, but it's not far off it here in Dingwall. Ross County just a couple of points better off than Dundee United and now 4 behind Kilmarnock. Before we get underway here, there will be a minute's applause pre-match. Both sets of players gathered around the centre circle, and this is all about Sinclair McKeever, a lifelong County fan who worked here at the club as well in various roles, including 11 years at it would have been Victoria Park when he started, that's for sure, as matchday security manager. So Sinclair McKeever being remembered here in Dingwall, pre-match with a minute's applause. The contrast between these two teams couldn't be much sharper since the World Cup break. Ross County are the lowest scorers in terms of points in the Premiership, and they're playing a team who've won their last 14 games in all competitions. Celtic looking unstoppable. In terms of Premiership, it's 27 wins out of 29 for Celtic, just the one draw and the one defeat, so it's 82 points out of a possible 87 for Celtic at this stage, and they won't be stopping anytime soon in their pursuit of another title. That Old Firm game to come next weekend, but full focus on this one. Can Ross County make it difficult for Celtic here today? They've lost their last 7 against Celtic, losing 20 goals in the process. Underway in Dingwall, and it's the Celtic side showing just that one change from the team which beat Hibs a fortnight ago before the international break. Tomoki Iwata at the heart of the midfield for Celtic. No Rio Hatate, no Aaron Moy either, no Lia Labada. Forrest and Ralston ruled out as well. But it's hardly crisis time for Celtic with so much talent to pick from, and they're immediately on the offensive down the left-hand side with Maida. Gets a cross into the box which is blocked and cleared. So important for Ross County that they don't suffer any damage early on, and they won't be surprised about Celtic looking to make the fastest of starts. It's what they do. It's O'Reilly this time from the left. A good ball in, and Kyogo was having a stab at it at the near post. He came sliding in and didn't make contact. But Celtic, Jim McInally making their usual sort of statement straight from kickoff.
Fantastic ball for Matt Riley there, and Kyogo just nearly nicks it. It's a great start for Celtic, that's for sure.
It's a bit passive from Ross County though. You know, Celtic score a lot of goals from crosses, and it just seemed to allow Matt Riley time to shape in a ball. And I think Kyogo actually, he's just a bit unlucky. He can't get round the defender quick enough to get his toe in the ball. But good start from Celtic, but it was far too easy for them.
Kyogo looking to add to his 26 goals already this season. 20 in the Premiership. 20 was his total in all competitions last season, so he's taken another step forward. Of course, he missed a fair chunk of football last season, but when he's around, when he's fit, when he's in the team, he's scoring goals. The ball with Cameron Carter-Vickers now on halfway as Celtic drive forward again. The knockdown from Maida to McGregor. Dyson Maida was offside. The flag goes up against him.
It's interesting the way the game started, with Ross County playing 4-4-2. McGregor and O'Reilly are pushed on a wee bit to let Iwata be the sitting player, and just it's created a wee space for Celtic to break into that middle third. I'm interested to see how they cope with that, Ross County.
It's going to be Ross Laidlaw to take the free kick for County, a couple of yards outside the penalty box. No Keith Watson in defence today. We just heard there from Malky Mackay that he's got a bit of a knock, and that has persuaded him to play Dylan Smith from the start. Ross County, for the first time, getting themselves up the pitch down the right side, winning a throw-in. And I think we know what's coming from the throw-in. Forward come Iacovetti and Smith. Just a few yards from the corner flag. Well, it looked as if it was going to be a long throw, but instead taken short to Victor Laturi, and his cross ball is too long, arrowed in beyond the back post, and it goes behind as Ross County tried to take Celtic by surprise.
Yeah, I actually think it's a foul throw.
Yeah.
It looked really, really awkward, and then you've just got to leave that ball in the box. I think I was looking at Smith there, number 30. He's a big boy. You know, he stood in defence next to Iacovetti, and he doesn't look out of place, certainly for his size. So they're a big side, County. You've just got to put that ball in the box and allow them to go and attack it. Too much in the cross, and what could have been a good opportunity for them kind of is wasted, and Celtic are now back on the ball.
Randall Smith, Iacovetti and Harmon across the back line for Ross County. In possession, Starfelt to Carter-Vickers. Angled pass out wide towards Jota, and George Harmon snapping in to the challenge to get there first and get the ball out of play. As the Dingwall team just look to negotiate these opening minutes and not hand anything to Celtic. They don't generally need too much assistance in getting off to a good start in the game. Iwata's pass for McGregor just in front of him, left of him. Now Maida out wide. McGregor racing to the byline to link up with Maida and fire the ball across goal. It's a good block by Dylan Smith at the near post, stopping that getting into the serious danger zone for Celtic. But they are having lots of joy early on down the left-hand side. Lots of good combination and danger for Ross County in that area.
Yeah, but it's two passes, and they're, McGregor should actually do better with the ball across. But what happens is Jordan White's trying to shut off the Celtic midfield. He's trying to shut off Furuhashi. He can't because his movement's too good. And then the next Ross County's centre midfielder steps out when he shouldn't. He should just stay. McGregor just runs in behind him, and they've got a chance down the left-hand side.
Certainly a problem area for the home team at the moment, one they'll look to solve sooner rather than later, because you would just think if Celtic keep probing in that area, sooner rather than later they're going to score. Iwata in possession, central midfield, out wide for Jota. Nutmeg on Harmon as Jota rolls the ball through to Matt O'Reilly. County get it clear, but unable to make it stick up front in these early minutes. Brophy and White up front are the two main targets for Ross County. The ball with Alistair Johnston under pressure from Gwion Edwards, and in the end maybe a bit too much pressure. He was all over the back of him, hold him down, but advantage is played. Jota swings one in from the right hand side, close enough to the keeper not to be a great problem for Ross Laidlaw.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Celtic prefer the free kick there. Rather than let that go.
And to be fair, I think he's lucky because it's a booking. Because Johnson's away from him. It's good play between him and Jota on the right hand side, and he's driving into the box and he just gets cleaned out. But Jota can't get enough curl on the cross to take it away from the goalkeeper. But I think you're right. I think they'd have preferred the chance to put the ball in the box.
Flicked up in the air, further forward for County by Brophy. Was intended for Jordan White, lost it, got it back, and now Celtic have it again just outside their own penalty box with Cameron Carter-Vickers. They can certainly be a good combination, Jordan White and Eamon Brophy, if Ross County can give them any sort of supply. Gwion Edwards on the left-hand side will look to get balls into the box if County can get him involved down the left.
That's the part of the Celtic game that we don't talk about that much because they've got so much quality, but it's a loose pass from Starfelt into Kyogo, but his reaction is incredible. He sprints 20 yards just to close down the fullback, put pressure on the Ross County players, force them to go back to the goalkeeper, and I think that's the part of the game that's underestimated how good Celtic are at it.
County get the ball down the inside right channel, and confusion between Starfelt and Hart, who was off his line, and as the ball broke free, it was just a chance for an angled effort from out wide, with Celtic in a little bit of disarray. It's the first real defending they've had to do, and it was certainly encouraging for Ross County. But here comes Celtic on the attack in response. Greg Taylor driving forward. Callum McGregor rolls it wide for Maida, his back heel. McGregor into the mix, into the penalty box. O'Reilly involved. McGregor squares it for Johnston. Back with the captain, McGregor. Another outstanding show for Scotland. Couple of outstanding shows against Cyprus and Spain. And that eye-catching run late on against the Spanish side, when most people were probably looking to lie down in a darkened room, and the Celtic skipper was still sprinting forward, doing the length of the pitch and creating a chance for Shankland late on against Spain. It's just what he does.
I think, but Celtic were lucky there. I think Starfield actually has a shot. Joe Hart saves it with his chest. It's a weird situation. He was obviously waiting for his goalkeeper to come out, and then he panics and just thinks, no, he's not coming, and tries to pass it back to him, and they get really lucky there.
A trip on Maida.
He's fired it, and Richard, even if the goalkeeper stays, it's still going to be a hard one for him to deal with. He's been a wee bit like that recently, Starfelt. He's cost him a penalty in the last game, and the game before that I think it was culpable of a goal. I know he came through that wee period, but he's been a wee bit lax again in the last few games.
It was a moment where you thought it had to be Joe Hart who was taking charge of that, coming off his line. It was all happening in front of him. Anyway, further down the pitch, it's a free kick for Celtic. Left of centre, curled in by O'Reilly. The header in from Johnston at the back post, and the second header flies over the top.
It's a bad miss.
He's got to score.
That's a bad miss. I mean, great free kick, great header back across, and he actually headers it over the bar when he just. It's a bad miss. He's got to score for that.
Jordan White's kind of complaining about something. He was the one closest to Johnson. I don't know if he's meant to be marking him, but he seemed like he's annoyed that he had to go and do the job. Well, but he never done the job. Johnson gets up really well, and Carter-Vickers has got to score. He actually gets too much on it.
Big chance for Celtic to go in front early on in Dingwall. And you weren't looking for the net to be rustling there. And Johnston, who set up the chance, is now powering down the right side and swinging in a cross ball, and Conor Randall tucks it behind, very much aware that Dyson Maida was lurking in behind him. Corner kick coming up for Celtic.
Yeah, it's brilliant play from Johnston, doesn't it? He 1-2, 30 yards from his own goal, and he just motoring up the pitch. I think it's Laturi comes over to try and slow him down, and he just runs by him and puts in a decent ball as well.
Corner kick left hand side for Celtic. O'Reilly out swinging. Canty get it clear. Collected by McGregor. He channels the ball out to the touchline again for O'Reilly. Inside for Carter-Vickers. His pass heading for Matt O'Reilly. And it's gone behind for what is going to be a goal kick. Matt O'Reilly doesn't seem too chuffed about it. Goal kick given. And Ross County survive under a fair bit of pressure already. The home team, and that big glaring chance in front of goal for Cameron Carter-Vickers when it was Johnston's header beyond the back post. He knocked it across goal, and you did expect either the goalkeeper to be making a big save or the ball to be in the back of the net. Neither.
Yeah, it was. It's there's that much power in the header back. I just don't think he can cushion it enough. You know, he just lets it hit his head and it kind of goes over the bar. I think he's jumped as high as he possibly can to head it, so he just needs to try and cushion it. But fantastic chance. I think if it falls to a striker, I think we see the net bulge. Not that I'm saying Carter Vickers is not good in the air, but you'd expect that someone with a bit more finesse would have headed that in.
He's on the ball now at the back, squaring it to Starfelt, then Taylor. Forward goes Iwata, linking up with his fellow countryman Dyson Maida out on that side. Back into the centre circle again with Carter Vickers, as Ross County do plenty of chasing here. And Celtic dominate possession, dominate most aspects of the game so far, but still goalless in Dingwall. And a back pass from Starfelt to Joe Hart, which was less than convincing as well, but the goalkeeper was heading well out of his area at the time, so able to collect. Carter Vickers to Johnston on the halfway line, curls it forward looking for O'Reilly. Goes out off George Harman. Throw in Celtic midway inside the county half. O'Reilly plays it back to Carter Vickers. Celtic fans packed into the stand behind Joe Hart's goal, hoping their team takes another step towards another title. Tomoki Iwata, Cameron Carter Vickers now striding forward and angling a pass to Jota on the touchline. Ahead of him O'Reilly. Jota continues the movement, heading for the byline, then stops and clips it back to Carter Vickers. Now Starfelt right in the middle of the pitch. Short pass to Iwata. And he just continues his movement. Iwata gets it back from Carter Vickers, tries to link with Johnston. Good challenge by Iacovitti, which breaks things up for Ross County. He gets the ball back after it was a long time in Celtic possession.
Iwata seems to be dictating the game a wee bit. I'm not sure that Ross County were prepared for maybe Celtic setting up like this, because McGregor's definitely playing higher than he usually does, and O'Reilly the same, and they're breaking through that. It's like the front two are trying to stop three getting out and not doing it.
On the flip side to that, you know, County win the ball really well there. And I think Brophy's got to look in behind. He's got to look in behind. Celtic are on the halfway line. Iacovitti does really, really well, and he comes to the ball and they end up getting a throw in 20 yards from their own goal. They're going to need to stretch the Celtic backline if they get any chance of getting up the pitch. But yeah, it looks like Jordan White's trying to, and Jordan White tracks Iwata all the way back when he goes forward.
You can see Malky's frustrated. He's trying to get it sorted.
Loturi to Harman for the home team. George Harman plays a pass down the line, and Eamon Brophy hangs his head because too much on it, not worth the chase. Heads behind for the goal kick. They need to be better when they're in possession, the home team, because so far they haven't seen much of the ball at all. And they start again with Carter Vickers and Starfelt.
Not changing for the rest of the game, to be honest.
No.
There must be games where Ange Postecoglou thinks about just playing two centre midfielders at centre half. Just because they end up playing so high up the pitch that, you know, the ball drops out 35 yards from goal, and if you had a central midfielder on the ball as opposed to a centre back, you've probably got more chance of maybe getting a shot away or something, because it's so easy for them because they're just so good.
Carter Vickers plays a long ball down the right side. Harman heads it away. Again, County unable to keep hold of the ball. They're scrambling around at the moment, and Gwion Edwards is on the ball, and he invites the challenge of Iwata, and it's a free kick as he was knocked over, the Welshman. And a free kick just midway inside Ross County's own half, just trying to get some sort of foothold in the game. The home team, easier said than done.
That was something Richard used to learn from the Japanese players. When you keep fouling people, just pick them up and shake their hands and say you're sorry. You can do it again.
Doesn't work though when you've really hurt them, is the problem. Or you've stood in their ankle on purpose.
Jordan White's flick on for Kanté, but Brophy couldn't get on the end of it. Celtic get it cleared up to halfway. Jakovic's header, wearing the captain's armband today. Jota keeps the ball in on the touchline, nods it towards Iwata. Then it's O'Reilly back to Johnston.
But you're right, Jim. Someone needs to just go and mark Iwata. You know, you can't just. Jordan White's trying to play in front of him and cut off the ball, but he's too smart. His movement's too good. He's too much. You know, he's a quality player. He'll get on the ball unless someone just goes and marks him, because, like you say, he is controlling the game. It's surprising that we don't have McGregor controlling the game, because that's usually how Celtic play. But they've got quality all over the pitch, so it doesn't really matter which midfielder gets on it. They can dictate the pace of how they play.
Yeah, whenever Callum McGregor plays, it's liable to be a problem, and he's so comfortable either in the sitting position or that little bit further forward where he is today.
You've seen it there. You know, Johnston's got the ball and he actually should go to Kyogo. So McGregor makes an offer to the ball and 3 county players chase after McGregor, and that allows would have allowed the pass to Kyogo further forward. But you're right. You know, he's the best midfielder in the country. You know, shown in his 2 performances for Scotland as well, and it's a problem. How do you pick him up? How do you pick up any of the Celtic's midfield?
Ross County 0, Celtic 0. Free kick given against Cancola, quickly taken towards Callum McGregor.
Right on cue.
Yeah, exactly.
That ball you were talking about there, Richard, is Ange Postecoglou's. He's had a go there at Alistair Johnson for not looking for Kyogo. There was a game recently again when he complained about the lack of balls that they played to Kyogo. He was looking for more balls over the top, because he makes run after run after run, and I think as a manager you don't want him to stop doing it, and that's a worry that he might stop doing it.
But the minute you bigged up McGregor, you just knew he was going to let a ball run under his boots and go behind for a goal kick. What about that McGregor run late on against Spain? It was ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah, he just, you know, as well for a player who plays so many games, you know, his fitness levels are incredible. Never seems to be tired, never needs a rest, and he's also a very consistent performer.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? We talk about sort of conserving players' energies and looking after them, Jim, and being careful with them and all the rest of it. But with Callum McGregor, he just wants to play all the time, and that seems to be the best thing for him.
I think individually you get to know players' constitution, and that's his constitution. That's where he thrives, training and playing, obviously.
And at this stage of the season, mainly playing, as Celtic just get a little bit sloppy. Doesn't happen too often, and that has Ange taken a couple of steps towards the touchline as Cameron Carter-Vickers plays a pass out wide, and it gets away from Johnson, and it goes out for a Ross County throw, and he turns round the manager with a shake of the head.
He's complaining about the ball not getting played to Kyogo again. That was his complaint.
Laturi getting a glancing header on the ball, and it's cleared in the end by the youngster Dylan Smith at the back, only 16. Daunting prospect to be making your first start against Celtic, mind you. As Malky Mackay was telling us pre-match, his debut was at Ibrox against Rangers. Jota looking to get the glimmer of a chance to get the ball in the box, deflected towards Johnston. O'Reilly squares it at the edge of the area. Kanté managed to win the ball. Laturi rolls it for Jordan White. Back it goes to Harman, and George Harman trying to curl a ball down the line. You'll hear from that whack on the stand above us, but that's where that went from the Kanté left back. But they are resisting so far, the home team, despite Celtic's best efforts. County 0, Celtic 0. The final match of the Premiership weekend as Ange Postecoglou and co look to go 9 points clear again. Maida, left side of the box, deflection on the cross. Jakovic loops up a header away from goal. County tried to keep hold of it. Guion Edwards had it and lost it. And it's nicked away from him by Kyogo, but the Welshman does well to win it back, and he fires the ball forward looking for Brophy, and with the aid of a deflection it does find its way to Eamon Brophy. Now Cancola. Kanté flooding some dark blue shirts forward. Randall's cross ball into the middle is disappointing, because there were bodies in there, but there was just too much height on it, and it's gone beyond everyone and out for a throw-in on the other side.
Yeah, I wonder, had County gone and scored there, whether that had been brought back for a foul on Kyogo, because he goes to try and press the ball, and Jordan White just cleans him out, just wipes him out, and Kyogo doesn't really complain, he just gets himself back up. But those are the kind of things that VAR obviously look for. But yeah, County need to make more of those situations when they've got a chance to break on Celtic.
Starfelt with a clever pass, reversed it left side. Kyogo was on the end of it, inevitably. Now McGregor on the touchline. Dyson Maida in towards O'Reilly, and County get the ball clear. Conor Randall. Nothing fluid or fluent about the way the home team are being able to play so far, but they haven't conceded, and that's the main thing. Johnston receives the ball from Carter Vickers in the centre circle, and it's Taylor to Starfelt. Coming Carter Vickers again, taking the ball forward. Johnston threads it through. Iwata for Kyogo with his back to goal. He tries to turn on it 6 yards out, and Hooker left footer towards the far post. It goes a few feet wide.
I think he'd have been better off going with his right foot. I think Iwata does unbelievable. The touch he takes to turn, he throws two County players a dummy, and then he flicks it through to Kyogo, and I thought he was just going to hit a snapshot with his right foot. He gives himself a lot to do once he cuts back on his left foot there, but good play from Celtic because they sped the game up. You know, it goes into Iwata, it's a quick turn, it's a quick pass, and that's what they need to do, because if they slow the game down, County can set themselves and they can pick up good spaces defensively, but they just piece to pace Celtic a little bit and they cut right through them.
Celtic already.
Iwata maybe could have had a wee shot himself there.
Yeah.
He's done brilliant to create the space for himself.
I was just going to say, I mean, they already had great strength and depth in the midfield areas, and Iwata's just added to it, Jim, hasn't he?
Well, you don't be was it player of the year in Japan for no reason.
Long ball downfield for Maida, and the goalkeeper was off his line. He ended up really in no man's land, and the shot in the end is blocked. But just for a moment you feared there for Ross Laidlaw.
I think his position, while he's miles out his goal in the wrong position, I think it confuses Maida, because he doesn't know whether to shoot or try and play it to Kyogo, and in the end he doesn't neither, and just hits the goalkeeper in the chest. But it just comes from a long ball. A long ball from Taylor and behind for Maeda?
It was a long, hopeful ball, and it turned out to be a very dangerous moment for Ross County as Maeda got on the end of it, and fortunate to get away with that, because Ross Laidlaw came off his line, then stopped, but he managed to stop the shot as well, and it stays 0-0 in Dingwall on BBC Radio Scotland. And County, on one of those few occasions where they get themselves up into the final third, they've got a throw in again on the right side, and plenty of targets. In it comes towards Jordan White, beyond him. Celtic now will look to break. Taylor's pass blocked by Luturi, but there was a tug at a shirt, and a free kick has been given.
It's not the longest throw. I thought I wondered at the start of the game when they throw in the same position why he didn't throw it in, and obviously that's because it's not that long.
It almost confused everyone, because it's actually just a normal length throw.
Yeah, might have to take the long out of long throw next time they have one. Iwata to Jota, right hand side. He's got George Harman breathing down his neck. Plays the ball infield for Starfelt, and there's plenty of room for him to run into. He's now about 25 yards out, Starfelt, and he takes the shot on, right-footed, blocked by Cancola. It just all opened up for him there, and eventually he thought, well, there's no point playing a pass because I'm well inside shooting range. And that's what he attempted.
Yeah, I mean, County need to get pressure on the ball. We can't just let the centre half. I know I'm saying that, technical in terms of shooting quality, you're better with a midfielder, but eventually these players, if they get that space and that time, they're going to score a goal. But I tell you what, see, as a fullback, I always used to relish playing against the better players, and you test yourself. I would have hated to play against Maeda. I would have absolutely hated it, because he just never stops.
Yeah.
And the very fact, Rob, he was one of the last players in from the warm-up. He was doing extra runs before the start of the game. And that to me, that's a warning sign that you know how fit he is, you know how explosive he is. And I think Celtic need to try and get him in the game more, because he can cause real problems.
Just constantly on the move, and here he is on the ball, receiving a pass from Starfelt. The ball fired in from the byline, left-hand side, gone behind. It's going to be a corner kick.
That'll be the thing that Ange Postecoglou is annoyed about. The quality from the wide areas has not been great. They've got into a few good situations, but they haven't yet found a decent ball in, apart from that one early from Matt O'Reilly.
And it was O'Reilly to take this corner kick for Celtic. Left-hand side, played it in low, headed away by Harmon. And when it's played in a second time, it's Jordan White who heads it away. But O'Reilly with a chance to create again and again. He can't really make up his mind, and has his pocket picked by Victor Laturi, who reverses a pass intended for Brophy. And again, it all breaks down for Ross County in a promising situation, and Celtic go forward with Maida, this time down the right-hand side, and he clips a pass towards O'Reilly. Iwata just right of the penalty box. Spinning around him is Johnston, who floats in across back post. Down goes Kyogo. Kankola gets on the ball, turns and hooks it away out into the stand, far side out for a Celtic throw.
Ross County need to do better when they get a wee bit of the ball. They can't just keep constantly turning it over. They were in a good position there for a counter attack and never even made half a chance out of it. They need to do better, because you can't defend like that the whole game.
Even Edwards' run, he runs in the way, into bodies. I'm thinking he's going to just peel out into this kind of right back area for Celtic, but he just runs, kind of the opposite way, and narrows down his space, and it makes it a harder pass. And then I think it's Laturi, isn't it? He doesn't even look at the pass because it's too difficult.
Iwata 25 yards out, right-hand side, plays the ball to Alistair Johnston, and Alistair Johnston plays it straight at Eamon Brophy for some reason. County have it. Down goes Gwion Edwards. Not much of a challenge, but enough for Willie Collum to give the free kick against Matt O'Reilly. Ross County can take a breath.
Well, that's the problem, Rob. It's Eamon Brophy that's made the tackle 20 yards for his own goal, so there's nothing up the park really, so it's really tough for them to get out. Going back to Maida, Richard, I think if you look at the Celtic Rangers games, Tavernier is obviously Rangers' best attacking weapon at times, and I think that's why he plays in these games constantly.
I think it's difficult to keep him out of the side at the moment against any team, just because of his contribution. 10 goals scored, but so much more than that. The Japanese international striker, and he's at the moment he's switched across. He and Jota have switched. Jota left, Maida right. And I guess Conor Randall's going to be relieved about that. That's George Harmon's problem now. Harmon down the line for County, and it's a pass that just gathers pace and goes behind before Eamon Brophy can get there. Unable really to summon any attacking threat so far, Ross County. The only great problem Celtic have had was self-inflicted.
Yeah, and Brophy's always try to run in behind. He's try to run down the sides, but the quality needs to be better. But as Jim said, the problem you've got is Jordan White, Eamon Brophy, they're making tackles 20-30 yards from their own goal. I think if you're going to play with those two strikers, then allow them to stay up the pitch. I know that's maybe taking a gamble, and you allow someone like Iwata time and space, but you've got three men at the back essentially marking Kyogo, so at some point they need to pick up.
Jota tries a long-range shot, which spins off the youngster Smith, on its way behind for a corner kick. Corner kick right-hand side, Matt O'Reilly trotting over to take this as Celtic look to get themselves in front in the game. 0-0 it is in Dingwall. County looking to maintain concentration defensively. In it comes from O'Reilly, and headed away by Brophy. Harmon plays it out off O'Reilly, and it's a throw-in to the home team midway inside their own half. Hanging on in there, County, but certainly need to be better when they have the ball.
You always wonder when Iwata's getting closed down for the back there, you can't shoot man on. To a Japanese player that doesn't. You wonder how they cope with these things. If it's something that they do in training or whatever, he wasn't aware that somebody was coming from behind him there.
Ross County nil, Celtic nil. Harmon's throw down the line. Wrestling was White with Johnston. The ball runs through to Iwata. Was it out? Yes, it was. Despite Gwion Edwards' efforts to keep it in. Not far from us here. Throw in for Celtic. Back it goes from Johnston to Carter Vickers, and then rolled into the midfield for Iwata, who's kind of cruising through the game, operating just in front of the two Celtic central defenders. Now Starfelt to Maida, who's back on the left-hand side, jinking inside. Along the edge of the box he goes, and then twists, trying to get back on his left foot. And as he stretched out, having lost his footing, he brought down Laturi. It will be a Ross County free kick.
I always think Maeda's better going outside, and I know he's not naturally left-footed, but he seems to do better going at his left foot and playing it across the box.
So the game disrupted again by a free kick. Ross County won't complain about that. Ross Laidlaw to take this for the home team, who watched Kilmarnock winning yesterday, Dundee United losing. The two teams on either side of them in the Premiership placings. Kankola loops a header forward. Celtic with two players going for the one ball, Starfelt and Iwata, and thankfully Carter Vickers was covering in behind. County looking to apply a little bit of pressure, but Celtic get themselves out of a tight area pretty smoothly, and the ball is rolled back to Starfelt and then Carter Vickers, and Celtic look to push forward again. Nothing for Joe Hart to do so far, apart from that moment of confusion involving Starfelt. Down the line from Johnston to the byline, in on the half volley from Jota. It's long, it's beyond everyone, and he was offside when he received the ball. In any case, up goes a late flag. And County won't be complaining, Richard, about these constant interruptions.
No, you know, the more stop-start the game is, the better it is for County. Celtic don't get into any kind of rhythm, and the game breaks itself up. I think Starfelt for me is the one player that County need to target. He doesn't look comfortable today. He looks, doesn't look as assured as Carter Vickers. It looks like he's got a mistake in him. He's already made one early on, and I think just kick on to him, play around him, get the ball in and around players against him, and try and exploit the area of the pitch, because they don't really have many weak links, Celtic. And I'm not saying he is a weak link, he's just maybe weaker than his centre-half partner. But the more stop-start the game is, like you say, the better it is for County, and they've actually got a spell now where they've been on the ball in Celtic's half.
County have it wide right, and it was Eamon Brophy who was trying to play the ball in. Fired in low from him, little deflection of Starfelt at the near post, spins out towards Harmon, and he turns back and plays the ball infield to Laturi. This is about as long as County have had the ball, I think, in the whole match so far. Back with Iacovitti, fired forward into the feet of Edwards. Iacovitti tries again, this time Johnston heads it away, and O'Reilly tries to keep it in on the touchline, and it goes out off Iacovitti, the County captain. Celtic back on the ball after that little spell of Ross County possession. Again, it looked promising in moments, but ended up not amounting to anything for the home team. Maida rolls a pass through. Iwata had made the move, cleared by the youngster Dylan Smith, still 16.
I always feel as though Celtic be happy with the opposition to have a wee bit more of the ball, to give them a wee bit of space to counter-attack into at times.
Good sliding challenge by Conor Randall against Maida, wins possession for Ross County, then has a little look at what's available, and he chips one down the right side for Jordan White. Didn't get the touch for control, and back from Carter Vickers to Hart, and he gets it clear down to halfway. Iacovitti lobs it forward, Kenna flicking it on, nobody in behind him to take advantage of that. Celtic back on it again.
those are the moments that County just need to stay on the ball. Don't force a ball through, to Jordan White running the channel against Carter Vickers. That's not really his strength. Just keep the ball, allow yourselves to get up the pitch and play in Celtic's half for a bit, as they've done a few minutes previously, whereas you chip the ball forward, Celtic deal with it easily, and then they come back at you. Although the quality from Celtic has not been what we're used to seeing either. They're giving the ball away more than what's normal for them, certainly.
Cancola's done well for Ross County, making a pretty average ball from Luturi into something a bit better than that. Up towards Eamon Brophy, down the right side. He wins it against Starfelt. Down goes the Ross County striker, looking for a free kick. No joy.
You know what? I think he's got that spot on. Brophy actually he gets the better of Starfelt. Starfelt makes another mistake. He gets the better of him, but then all he's looking to do is get across him, and he throws himself forward. I don't think that's a foul. I think it's a great decision.
Johnston does well against Edwards. He's on the byline. He turns it back. Wheeling for the shot at goal was Jota. Shifted it onto his right boot and then fired over. It was a chance for Celtic.
Outstanding play. Outstanding right back. Johnson, he's held off 2 tackles. The guys came along the byline to try and clean him out to a certain extent. He's seen that off and gives it to Jota, who should do better actually for that position.
He was looking for the top corner, Jota, with a right footer. He was a couple of feet too high with the effort, but yeah, it was terrific attacking play from Johnston. So powerful, holding off challenges, getting to the byline and picking out Jota for that chance at goal. Starfelt clearing for Celtic. The ball skims off the head of Randall. Smith lobs it forward. Again, it's Starfelt, but his header goes straight to Jordan White, and now it's Brophy out on the right hand side, grappling for possession again with Starfelt out for a Celtic throw.
Do we know if the boy Dylan Smith's a local boy?
It's a good question, Jim.
Because he looks decent, I'll tell you that.
He does.
The main thing, he just doesn't look phased
No.
by playing against Celtic and Kyogo. He just looks like he's slotted in there. He looks like he's played 100 games.
Yeah, there are more experienced players in the Ross County team who are showing a lot less composure than he is. Inverness born, so I think that qualifies as pretty local, and part of the Scottish under-17 side.
He's certainly a big boy, that's for sure. Looks like he's got a good temperament.
That wasn't a good tackle actually from, I think it was it Randall. He slides out. Again, we're talking about more experienced players than Smith having no composure there. There's no real need to go into a tackle, and now Celtic have got a free kick in a real dangerous area. Yeah,
the challenge on Matt O'Reilly, who's just getting cagily back on his feet. This is 25 yards, maybe a little bit more left of centre. Definitely well within the compass of Jota as he looks to add to his 11 goals already this season. This could be a major threat to Ross County. It's Jota, and it's comfortably over the top, looking to dip it and swerve it, but didn't come down quickly enough. And goalkeeper Ross Laidlaw able to watch that flushing well wide.
Yeah, he doesn't catch it well, does he? It's always going over. And that kind of sums Celtic up in an attacking sense. A lot of the ball, just missing that final bit of quality, which is not something I've seen often from Celtic. Watched them a lot this season, and typically they're very good in those forward areas, but today they've been a bit off it. Let's County come forward.
Yeah, County attacking down the right hand side with Randall. Cancola to Victor Luturi, strides forward. He's in shooting range and let rip with a left footer, which ends up going well off target, but maybe showing signs of starting to believe the home team, with Celtic having failed to take their opportunities so far. Maybe time for Ross County to get a firmer foothold in this and start to think they might just get something out of the game.
The thing is, Jordan White's winning every header every time the ball's played up, and it gives County a wee chance to get up the pitch, and that's what's happening. Starfelt doesn't deal with him at all. They let him come off, and he dictates most of the stuff in the air, Jordan White.
4 minutes left in the first half in Digwall. Ross County 0, Celtic 0. Maida attacking Randall, cuts in, slides it across towards Kyogo, looks to get it back. County standing firm, getting the ball out of the danger zone, but Celtic still in possession. O'Reilly to McGregor, back with Carter Vickers inside the centre circle, stepping forward, having a look at what's available. There's room to run into here, and he bounces a pass towards Maida at the edge of the area. Back with Carter Vickers. Now it's McGregor on the right foot, and the shot smacks back off the post. It was Greg Taylor who took the shot on right-footed, and you'd have heard that thwack as it came back off the frame of the goal. The closest Celtic have been so far as we head towards half-time.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? His movement, he knows the pass is coming and he's already moving towards it, so he takes his touch inside and he hits a fantastic strike, and you're just waiting for the net to bulge. Luckily for County that it comes back off the post and they survive another attack, but it was just that kind of decisive, quicken the speed up, take that touch inside and get your shot away early, and County are lucky that it's still 0-0.
He's bad foot too.
Carter Vickers back to Hart. And Joe Hart plays it out left side for Taylor. Now Iwata.
You see Edwards there, and he's pointing at Iwata, but he's more worried about Johnson. But I just think when you've got them in that left back area, just squeeze yourself over and force him to have to play the long ball to Johnson, which they're capable of doing, but it's a much harder pass. Whereas you can see it, he's looking right at it and he just allows the ball to come out. And now that they were defending in their own third.
The final third's not been good enough for Celtic.
No.
I mean, Ross Laidlaw's not had really any saves to make. I mean, that last one hits the post, but they've not worked the goalkeeper enough, that's for sure, for the amount of ball that they've had.
Yeah, I think Ange Postecoglou will be a little frustrated heading towards half-time here. That despite all the possession and territory his team have had, that's as close as it's got so far. Up goes Edwards to win a header against Johnston. Nodded back towards the Welshman, flicked up towards White and Brophy, but they kind of both hesitated as the ball bounced their way, and it went through to Hart pretty harmlessly in the end.
Ross County will get a chance off one of these high balls at some point, that's for sure. As long as they stay in the game, they'll get something.
The game is missing quality at either end of the pitch, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Maida, that lightning pace to get him away, clips it inside, big chance for Celtic. Great save from Ross Laidlaw to deny Greg Taylor with his right foot.
Yeah, it's the first time in the game that we've seen Maida beat his man, just go at him, beat him for pace, and he beats him easy, and then he plays the ball across, and Celtic probably should score from that. But when a team sit in and they've got a low block like this, at some point your flair players, your Jotas, your Maidas, they're going to need to beat someone and get quality into the box, and we've seen it there.
A minute being added at the end of the first 45. Ross County 0, Celtic 0, but Celtic getting closer and closer to going in front in the game. Good goalkeeping from Ross Laidlaw. It was a sharp stop from him. Back with Starfelt, who's not at his finest 45, that's for sure. To Carter Vickers, he chips one forward looking for Kyogo, headed away but only as far as O'Reilly. Now Maida on his right foot on the left side of the penalty box, blocked, spins behind, corner kick.
I think if you look for that ball more often, the ball in behind, and it's not back, even defenders get it. Your midfield players are on the second balls and you're up in the game, you might have a chance of a shot at goal.
Corner kick left hand side right at the end of the first half, outswinger towards Carter Vickers. County haven't got it convincingly clear yet. Now it's out about 30 yards from goal. McGregor to O'Reilly, looking to find room for the cross ball, floated in and well grabbed by Laidlaw, and that will surely be the last action of the first half. Malky Mackay certainly thinks so, because he's headed down the tunnel, and he was right.
No, he's not.
No,
he's checking for a handball, I think. But
well,
Carter Vickers was I think he flicks the header, and he thinks it hits a county arm, I think, and I think this might be what the check's for.
Well, somebody better going to get Malky.
Yeah, get Malky back. He's about to do his half-time team talk, and VAR reviewing this. And
Carter Vickers was adamant it hit his arm.
One of those lengthy waits for a judgment.
You can see Don Cowie looking up the tunnel.
Yeah, where's the gaffer? He's out of sight at the moment, and
Well, he's coming to look at it.
yeah, he's coming across.
Maybe he's got to look for Malky.
Yeah.
He's up the tunnel, Willie.
Well, I think he's going to be coming back sharpish now,
This
the Ross County manager.
Usually when they come to the monitor, they give it.
Yeah.
I'm really lost with the handball, though. I'm totally lost.
I think it's a case that if your arms are up in the box at any point and the ball hits it, they give it as a penalty.
Malky's back.
I seen one last night, I know, where it wasn't given, and he's gave a penalty.
Yeah, penalty given by Willie Collum for handball, and Celtic have the chance to go in front right on half-time. A moment of drama in Dingwall.
It's spoiling the game.
To be fair to Carter Vickers, he was
I know.
straight away he was saying it was handball, and because he's slightly ahead of the defender's got his arm out to kind of make contact with him, and I think the ball's, we can't see from here, but you'd assume Willie's looked at it. He didn't take long, to be fair to Willie, and he's given the penalty.
I think we should go back to deliberate. It would make life a lot easier for everybody.
Yeah, I think it would make it a lot easier for the referees as well.
Willie Collum's trying to clear the penalty box. There was a huddle of players around him there, debating the decision.
I don't see Angie. He went up the tunnel.
He's just at the mouth of the tunnel,
I see him.
the Celtic manager, hoping that 0-0 is about to become 1-0. And Jota has had plenty of time to think about this. Ross Laidlaw's had a couple of good saves. Can he produce another one? It's Jota from the penalty spot, and he hammers it right down the middle. Laidlaw flung himself to his right. The ball flashes past him. It's Jota's 12th goal of the season, and after the intervention of VAR, Celtic find a way to go in front in Dingwall. The successful penalty conversion is followed by the half-time whistle, and Celtic head for the away dressing room with a 1-goal advantage. The goal you felt was coming, because despite bags of frustration for the champions in waiting in that first half, they were getting closer and closer. Greg Taylor's right footer smacking back off the post, then another effort, producing a really good save from Laidlaw. But finally, as Malky Mackay disappeared thinking it was half-time, VAR had its say. Willie Collum pointed to the spot. Jota did the rest. Half-time in Dingwall, Ross County 0, Celtic 1.
All the action.
What a moment! From all the biggest games.
This is Sports Sound.
Oh, it's a goal!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Another goal! A dark comedy drama. After an accident,
he's dead.
Two brothers find themselves in a world more dangerous than they could imagine.
What have you done?
Tell me, or I'll get those men over there to kill you and then your brother.
Before the third and final series, watch every twisted moment from the start.
What are we going to do?
From the writer of The Gold, Guilt, Series 1 and 2. Watch all episodes on BBC iPlayer.
This is Sports Time with me, Richard Gordon. So late drama in Dingwall as Celtic finally make the breakthrough. It took VAR, and Willie Collum, of course, the referee, across to have a look at the monitor. But Jota dispatched the penalty after it was awarded. 12th goal of the season. 2 of them have been from the spot. Celtic have the advantage, and actually just as Celtic, the men's team were scoring, so too the women, who have gone 1-0 up against Partick Thistle. That's streaming on BBC Alpha, live on BBC Alpha right now. Celtic scoring, actually I don't have details of the scorer, but they did get the goal just before the 40th minute there. So it is 1-0 for Celtic women against Partick Thistle. Later, Hearts against Glasgow City, live at the BBC website, bbc.co.uk/sportscotland. Rangers against Hibernian later as well. And then the bottom half of the table, Aberdeen against Spartans, 1 o'clock kickoff. Motherwell against Dundee United 2. Hamilton against Glasgow women at 4 p.m. The highlights from the SWPL, 7 o'clock tomorrow night on BBC Scotland. If you can hear Kaylee music in the background, did mention this right at the start of the programme. They are currently recording a Take the Floor just through in another part of the building here at BBC Aberdeen, but they're doing so very loudly, so it's kind of splitting through into sports. So it just adds a little bit of atmosphere to what's happening there. And of course, well, you can hear the music bleeding through from Dingwall as well. So a bit of a musical mix as we review the first 45 minutes. Was it heading Jim McInally to be a very frustrating 45 for Ange Postecoglou before that goal?
There's no doubt he was frustrated. I mean, I think just maybe the last 5 minutes of the first half, with two good efforts at goal where the goalkeeper was called into action at last. The post, Greg Taylor, fantastic effort with his right foot off the post. But generally, obviously he's not that far in front of us, and you can see he was frustrated because I think he was looking for more balls in behind for Kyogo, and it all became a wee bit flat. Ross County, I think, eventually conceded the fact that they weren't going to get their 2 up the park, and they were going to, White ended up marking Iwata, and generally then it meant Ross County were just basically backs to the wall. I think they tried to start 4-4-2 and press high, but they were getting picked off too easily, and so the game was petering out, nicely for Ross County, because as long as it was 0-0, they were in the game, and with the aerial threat that they had, they always were going to get a chance at some point. But that penalty right in half time changes both team talks dramatically.
Richard, was it a deserved breakthrough in the end?
Yeah, Celtic have been the better side. They've dominated possession of the ball. The quality in the final third has not been what we're used to seeing from Celtic. When they get into good areas, which they've done on numerous occasions, the crossing's been poor. They've not picked anyone out on the couple of occasions that they have. And Jota should score. Laidlaw makes a save. And Celtic are well worthy of the lead. I think they've been the better team, but they've not been the Celtic that we normally see. But having said that, it is a penalty. I've had it sent through, and the best bit is when you see when Willie Collins looking at the VAR, you can see Malky behind him up the tunnel coming back out. But yeah, it's a penalty. The defender's arm is outstretched. Yeah, Carter Vickers is away from him, and he's reaching out his hand to make contact, and the ball hits his arm, and it's a penalty. But yeah, I think Celtic are worthy of it. County have offered very little in an attacking threat. They've set up for a long throw that wasn't really a long throw. They try to put in a cross early on, but they need to target Starfelt. They need to get Jordan White up against him, get the long ball to him, and play off the bits and pieces, because he wins everything in the air. But they've offered very little going forward. County and Celtic, while not being at their best, are deservedly in front.
Yeah, very frustrating for Malky Mackay. I guess he would have thought his team had made it through. You guys had pointed out that he'd already gone up the tunnel, and I guess this is one that clearly they'll look at. Yeah, I don't think you're doing the Vardic this week, are you? It's Al Lamont and Stuart Dougal, Richard?
Yeah, I've been subbed. I've been subbed out for Al Lamont.
Wow, it's a bit scary, that. Look, it's one they'll look at. But the bottom line is, so Jakubity, he's out. He's challenging Carter Vickers. The arm is out, but it's almost behind Carter Vickers. You've got no doubts that it is a penalty?
I think the way the law is now, and to be honest, in fairness to the referee, in fairness to VAR, that we're starting to get a level of consistency where if your arms are up shoulder height or above, in the box or away from your body, in the box, and the ball hits it, regardless of where you're facing or where you're looking or where the ball's came from, a penalty is going to be given. And it's difficult. I'm glad now that I've retired, because as a defender, you're always trying to kind of feel for the player you're marking, trying to get close to them. And what's happened there is Carter Vickers has got away from his man, and in his panic to get close to him, I think it's Jakovic that puts his arm out, hits his arm, it's a penalty. And I've no doubt now that that's a penalty. Whether the law needs looked at and changed, possibly, but the way it currently stands, that's going to be given as a penalty all day.
Well, Richard, I watched Aaron Hickey, it was match of the day last night. He conceded one penalty for a handball that was a bit of a block, and then just after it he blocks a ball with his right hand that was out, and for some reason, because they were closer, it wasn't given. And this is the confusion for me, where it needs to be looked at, it needs to be sorted, because if it's going to just be for hitting your hand, then they should consistently do it. But for me it's confusing.
What I can't quite get my head around, Jim, and back to, you'd have been the same, watching football prior to you started playing, but certainly during your career, I don't recall the huge uproar about penalties being awarded for handball that there has been in the last few years. I mean, essentially, you always seem to know if it hit a hand, it was a penalty. Is that all it should be? Should we just have it like that now?
Well, the old saying was deliberate handball. It was always a deliberate handball, and for me that was the simplest way. Okay, you had referees that would sometimes judge a ball deliberately hitting your hand that wasn't deliberate and stuff like that, but there wasn't too many occasions like that. But this now, every time the ball comes in the box, and you're trying to header the ball, you're trying to jump, and it comes in and it hits your arm or whatever. I just think it's harsh, and it's just the way the game is, but it's not something that I particularly enjoy.
Right, in terms of the overall game, I mean, there were very, very few chances. Even Celtic, we're so used to Celtic creating chance after chance. Carter Vickers should have scored very early on, a close range header. There wasn't an awful lot beyond that, was there?
No, well, you've had, so Jota has one where Johnson does really well down the right hand side, skips 2 tackles, cuts the ball back, and I thought he could have hit it with his left. He checks back, and he should still hit the target with his right foot. You expect him to score from there. You've got the Carter Vickers one, and then you had the Laidlaw save, and then obviously you've got Greg Taylor's effort off the post, but that was just brilliant play from Greg Taylor. That wasn't, it's not one you expect him to score. But yeah, that's, you're used to seeing, even games where Celtic don't score early, you're used to seeing them having peppered the goalkeeper making 3, 4, 5 saves. That's not happened. The goalkeeper's made 1 save, and they've had 2 chances that they should have scored, and obviously then they hit the post. So they've not had the same quality in the final third that we're used to seeing. I think when Maeda does get into good areas, Jota gets into good areas, the balls across are not, they're not accurate, they're just kind of helped in. I think Jota's had a couple where he's just tried to guide them into an area and he's overhit them, and Maeda kind of runs underneath it because he's trying to get into the back post. So I would imagine Ange Postecoglou will be telling his players that the quality needs to increase, the speed of play needs to increase. I think there was one where Iwata has a fantastic turn on the edge of the box, slips it through to Kyogo, but that was one of the only times they cut through the middle at Ross County, because they have so many bodies in there. But even then, with all the bodies County have, when Celtic increase the pace of the passing and do it 1 and 2 touch, then County still can't live with them. But we haven't seen enough of that. They're happy to just kind of keep the ball and work County side to side, but never really kind of get through the middle of them. So I think just more of an attacking threat, more get back to what we're used to seeing from Celtic all season, because let's be honest, they've faced this 4 or 5 at the back. They faced that all season and they've dealt with it, so it's not like it's new to them. They just haven't had the same level of quality as we're used to seeing.
At 0-0, Ross County gets sent out, Jim, and they're told to just do exactly the same, I guess. Does this change things a bit for Marky Mackay, the late first half goal?
I'm not sure it will for maybe 30 minutes or something like that. I'm sure Malky will not change too much. His players are in a good shape now. I mean, he was frustrated at the start because Celtic were picking them off too easy and getting into the middle third. And I'm sure, when he goes in at half time, especially when he thinks, it's at 0-0, that everything's fine, he wouldn't have changed anything. I'm pretty sure he won't. I know he's got 2 or 3 guys in the bench there, that forwards that can come on and change it, but I'm pretty sure he'll leave it as it is, and he'll try and stay in the game, because while it's 1-0, and I've already said it, Jordan White's aerial threat, he always does well against Celtic, especially here. They'll get something at some point. They'll get a chance off a flick or a knockdown or something that comes off him, I'm pretty sure. So he'll just be urging them to stay in the game, and obviously hope that, if Celtic step up a bit, obviously they're in trouble, because they could go 2 or 3 down. But at the minute, I'm sure he'll not change anything.
It's amazing, isn't it, Richard, just to think that after this, just 8 games left in this season, and you go along, you keep thinking about there's plenty of time to pick up the points, but all of a sudden we are into the running, and County in a very, very precarious position, just 2 points clear of United, 4 now behind Kilmarnock. If they could get something in the second half, psychologically as much as anything, it would be a massive boost for them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's huge. When you're a team down at the bottom of the league, and that any team that plays either side of the Old Firm, you write that off. Oh well, that's them lost that game. So when they get a point, when they can nick something from the game, it's huge, because it's so demoralising, and it might only be a point, but you know, come the end of the season, that might be the difference between getting relegated or getting in the playoff, or missing out in the playoff, that 1 point. So you don't know how important it can be, and while it's 1-0, they've always got a chance. But you're right, the games are running out. But I think what's good for Ross County is, I think all the other teams, both Kilmarnock and Dundee United, if I'm right, they still have to play Celtic before the split as well. So this is it's good that they're getting this game out of the way now, and then they'll be playing games that they'll feel that they've got more a chance of getting something from.
From Celtic's point of view, it's just a case of pushing on. We talked about County and whether their approach would change in any way, shape or form. The one thing we know for sure, Jim, is that Celtic's approach won't change. They'll just be approaching the second half in exactly the same way as they did the first, irrespective of the goal, won't they?
Yeah, that's exactly what it'll do. And as we've already said, we can see the frustrations of the manager in front of us at times. So I'm pretty sure they won't get an easy time in there. He'll be chasing them up. He'll be looking for more. And when you look at his bench, I mean, he's obviously not got Abada, but he's got Haksabanovic and Turnbull that can come on, and there's really good players that can make a difference. So no, I'm pretty sure he'll be looking for a second goal, or even a third goal if he could, and maybe rest 1 or 2 legs for Nick. I'm sure he's got next Saturday in mind.
1-0 it is for Celtic at the end of Jota's penalty, his 12th goal of the season. Remember, Off the Ball will be following us. That's between 3 and 5. All change for this afternoon. It's Ray Bradshaw and Jane Lewis who are presenting. 3 o'clock, the SWPL live stream at the website bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. That's Hearts against Glasgow City. The women's highlights on the telly tomorrow night at 7. The verdict will be available online at some point during the day tomorrow. And remember, tonight, Sports Scene highlights 7:15, BBC Scotland channel. You get all the action from yesterday, those 5 games, and we'll spend some time looking back on those a little bit later too. Plus, of course, you'll get the best of the encounter in Dingwall this afternoon. Currently it is Ross County 0, Celtic 1. Back to full live second half commentary here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland with Jim McInally, Richard Foster and Rob McLean.
Thanks, Richard. Just when you thought it was going to be goalless, which the game looked as if that was the way it was heading, it all changed in the 5th minute of time added on at the end of the first half. That 5 minutes added on being down to Willie Collum trotting across to look at the monitor and look at the handball case against Alex Iacovitti, and guilty as charged in the end, and the referee pointing to the spot. Jota did the rest, plenty of time to think about it. Down the middle it went for his 12th goal of the season, and underway now, second half in Dingwall, and the Ross County plan won't be changing anytime soon, as Malky Mackay's team just look to hang on in there, stay close as possible to Celtic, and give themselves a chance of throwing a bit more at it later in the game. But they need to perform a bit better when they do have those moments in possession. Ross County, they really haven't been able to summon anything like a serious effort on goal as things stand. I'm disappointed that they didn't manage to get half-time without damage being done, but it was coming from Celtic in the 5, 6, 7 minutes before the interval. Can't he have a throw in right side? Cancola to Laturi, tries to shrug off the challenge of Maida, slices a ball across the pitch, but Iacovitti will be able to get there, blocked by Johnston, and the ball trundles out for a throw in on the far side, just about on the halfway line. Harmon with the throw, down goes Jordan White. No free kick, Celtic in possession. McGregor, Taylor, now Maida running at Randall and jinking his way up to the edge of the area, inside the box now on the left foot, and he tried the angled drive towards the top corner. It just rose a little bit too sharply for him. Over the top it went, but close.
Yeah, but I just think he takes too long to take Randall on. I think he gets the ball maybe 40 yards out from goal, space in behind him, just knock it by him like he done in the end of the first half. But to be fair to me, then he ends up himself in the box. He's 1v1, he shifts it onto his left foot. It's a decent strike, he hits it well, but it's always rising and away from the goal. But it's so easy. I think Cancola gambles on Callum McGregor in the middle of the pitch, and then within 2 passes Maeda's in the box, and they've got a shot at goal.
The ball is flicked on by Jordan White, looked like handball by Eamon Brophy. Goes out for a throw-in instead. Cancola will take this for Canty. Another of those short throws. Cancola linking with Loturi down the side. Cancola heading for the byline, in low, probing at the near post and stretching to turn that ball behind was Starfelt. Better from Ross Canty.
We knew eventually to get some joy from that long throw. I think they're just trying to bamboozle Celtic with it. Like, they do well down the right hand side, but again it's the quality into the box. You're in a good position and you hit the first man.
Corner kick is on the right hand side. Lots of fans still retaking their seats after the interval. Here comes the corner kick in from George Harmon at the near post, and it was Dylan Smith who got his head to it and flicked it over the top, and he's gone down and stayed down, the youngster. Looks as if he's going to need a little bit of treatment here. No.
They
make them tough up here, Rob.
I'm confused with the throw-in. Because everybody gets into the box, so they've obviously worked on something to get that throw in, and they've still not through it long yet.
I think, to be fair to Celtic, the very first one, Celtic got caught out and they threw it short and they got the cross in the box from Laturi, I think it was. But since then Celtic have just put 2 men out, so that's not really an option. But in saying that, County done well down the right hand side there. But yeah, it's certainly not a long throw, and he doesn't even look to throw it in the box.
Can we call it just a normal throw?
Just a throw, yeah.
Celtic have a throw.
But County still send all their big guys up as if it's going to be a long one.
Johnston to O'Reilly. County forced the ball out of play. It's going to be same again. He's been an impressive acquisition for Celtic, as Alistair Johnston.
Very good. Whoever scouted him has done a fantastic job to lose Juranovic, and he's probably a better defender than Juranovic. Maybe not as good going forward, but certainly improving every game. And
they made a healthy profit in Juranovic in the process.
He's a real fight, that's for sure.
Good ball winning from Ross Canty as O'Reilly dallied on it for a moment. And Guion Edwards has won a free kick, 25 yards out, close to the left hand corner of the penalty box.
Again, it's a part of the game that I'm just going to need to get used to. As soon as players feel contact, they just fall over. You know, how much contact there was there. There's maybe a tangle of legs, and if there is, you know, I take back what I'm saying. But it just looked like as soon as Celtic players got close to him, he fell over, and Willa gives a free kick. But it's a great area for a free kick.
So Eamon Brophy is over this, and Guion Edwards in the vicinity as well. But it looks as if it's going to be Brophy to have a crack at goal. Fully 25 yards. Fair angle on this as well. It is Brophy with the free kick, and going well wide of goal. Joe Hart untroubled as that flashed off target.
Yeah, it was need to be something special to beat Joe Hart from there, and as soon as he hit it, he knew it was wide.
Played out to Taylor, who had that pretty impressive attacking end to the first half. The Celtic left back, if you can call him that, considering where he plays on the pitch. But a couple of right footers, one smacking off the post, one saved very well by Ross Laidlaw. That before Jota scored with the penalty in stoppage time.
Ross County are actually pressing a lot better this start of this half to get Celtic higher areas, and they've managed to get their foot in once or twice.
And a mistake from Starfelt as he tried to clip a pass across to Carter Vickers, inviting Ross County in. And the shot at goal from Gwion Edwards, he reckoned had taken a little nick, but it just trundled wide of target. But that's definitely given a bit of encouragement to the home team, who were looking a bit more purposeful anyway second half, and Celtic helping them along with that sloppy play at the back.
Yeah, and we spoke about it in the first half about Starfelt. He doesn't look comfortable today. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he's made a few mistakes now, and he's been lucky with every single one. But as he gives Joe Hart a bad ball back there, but yeah, you know, if it continues and they keep targeting Starfelt, eventually they're going to get some joy from it.
My take on it is that I think Starfelt's brave enough to keep taking it, and he takes it under pressure constantly, and I'm not sure that that's the strength of his game. And I think since he's come in, he's always done it, and he's made mistakes. But you know, sometimes I think you've just got to get yourself up the park, and you know, don't be as brave. Look forward, see if you can get Kyogo in behind and play it long. But he puts himself under pressure constantly.
That square pass at the back was certainly danger games from Starfelt, as Laidlaw plays the ball forward for Ross County, and it's Starfelt in the end who clears. Loturi gets his head to it in the midfield, then Harman. Flick towards the edge of the box, cleared by Carter Vickers. Now Victor Loturi tries to find a way through. It's scrappy stuff, but Ross County not complaining at the moment. In goes Edwards with a challenge on Johnston. The ball goes out, and it's going to be a Celtic throw.
I tell you what, if I was Johnson, I'd been complaining there, that pass. He had no idea. Because Iwata just rolls it a yard to him, and he's got a Ross County player right beside him, but he does well to win the throw from the tackle.
It's a stuttering start to the second half from Celtic on the back of the dream end to the first half, when they scored with the last kick of the first, well, not 45, but the first 50 minutes with stoppage time added. Forward goes Carter Vickers, running with the ball, giving it away under pressure. Can't he have it with Loturi in the middle of the pitch? O'Reilly gets in a challenge and robs him of possession, and now Kyogo driving with the ball, rolls it through for Jota, left side of the box, gets round the goalkeeper, fired into towards goal, and Iakoviti clears before Maida could get a finishing touch.
That's the danger when Ross County get a bite of the ball. They're going to get counter-attacks like that, and probably Celtic will enjoy it to a certain extent, although they won't like how badly they're using the ball defensively.
I actually thought that if Jota stays away, Maeda's in there. I think, you know, that because I think Maeda's got the legs on Randall, but it's a good run from Jota, takes a good touch and nearly an excellent finish.
Here's the Celtic corner kick, out swinging from O'Reilly. Can't he get it clear? Collected by McGregor. Iwata alongside. The square pass to Jota, wide left. O'Reilly against Harman. Matt O'Reilly heading for the byline and over the byline, overruns it, and it goes behind for a goal kick. And meantime, Canty have a player down, and they're going to make a change. Josh Sims is going to be coming on. I think that's Gwion Edwards who's down.
I don't know if Jota had a wee chance to get down there, but it was, you know, he kept on his feet okay. You know, a lot of foreign players especially can look to go to ground when the goalkeeper comes near them, but
I think Laidlaw done well to not go too far, didn't he? He stopped just a yard short so that he knew there wasn't going to be any contact. But I tell you what, it's nearly a hell of a finish from the angle he's at. He's got no right to get the ball on target. Yeah,
I mean, it was very much on target, and had Iakoviti not been there, then Maida was around as well to potentially apply a touch to it, put the ball in the back of the net. But Ross County keep it at 1-0 Celtic, and it is Gwion Edwards whose game is over. and Josh Sims is the player to replace him. 1-0 Celtic, Jota's 12th goal of the season, as Celtic look to reopen that 9-point gap at the top of the Premiership, and it would be 9 with 8 games to go if they can maintain this advantage in Dingwall. Starfelt winning a header against White, then it's Laturi plays it forward towards Brophy. Laturi again involved. Sims for the first time off the bench gets a little flick towards Eamon Brophy out on the right side, squeezes it back in. It is Sims who crosses on the half volley. The header back across goal from Harman, scrambled away by Celtic. Big chance for Ross County to level this up. Laturi on the ball in the midfield. The home team encouraged. Randall plays the ball forward. Headed away by McGregor, out for the Canty throw.
Joe Hart does really well there. I don't think it's I think Harman's just heading it back across goal, but Hart obviously is coming to close the space down, and it nearly goes past him. And you know, Celtic get lucky there. I think Joe Hart does well in the end, but initially his position's a bit wrong. But you know, County have come out in the second half and they've pushed Celtic, they've forced them into making mistakes, and they don't look comfortable at the back.
And Sims getting himself very quickly involved, having come off the bench for Ross County. He was instrumental in creating that opportunity. Now Celtic go forward, having had that warning, and McGregor squares it to Iwata, and he took it on his left foot, and it was well off target. I don't think just over the bar, over the top of that stand, and into which the Celtic fans are crammed behind Ross Laidlaw's goal. New ball required. And an important save required, Jim, from Joe Hart. He had to adjust, didn't he, as that header came back across him from Harman.
And Richard is right, he made a good decision because he decided to stay when it went to the back post, and he put himself in a better position to make the save. But Ross County have started this half really well.
Just a whole new attitude, it seems, apart from anything else. Free kick against Sims for knocking over Johnston, which is some achievement actually.
But this is what blows my mind. You know, we've seen Johnston in the first half ride 2 tackles. The second one, a guy runs into him and tries to smash into him, and he bounces off him. And then you see there, you know, Sims just brushes against him, and he goes down.
Ross County playing a much more aggressive pressing game second half, Jim.
Well, Kenna is actually pushed on to Iwata, and the front 2 are allowed to play against the back 2, and they're kind of more gone man for man at the back. They've pushed a man on, they've been braver, and they've gave themselves a wee chance of getting back in the game, because at the minute they're well in it.
Celtic were cruising for much of the first half, not now, and Sims again seeing an opportunity, finding a little bit of room 25 yards out. He didn't catch the right foot shot, he's dragged it wide of target, but County are way ahead in the second half on territory and shots, not necessarily on target, but shots at goal, after a first half in which they summoned up very little. It's a different game at the moment, and Randall wins the ball against Maida. Kankola plays it back for Laidlaw to clear up towards halfway. Jordan White grappling with Starfelt, who won the header. On the ball, Laturi halfway, square to David Kankola, down the line for Randall. Was he taken out by Taylor? Free kick given Ross County's way, and Greg Taylor has stayed down. He's got a sore one.
Looked like shin to shin.
Yeah, I don't think Taylor can do anything about that. He just get because there's 2 County players there. One of them just runs in. Randall just runs right into him. I think it's a foul, but I don't think Greg Taylor can do much about it, and he's obviously caught a sore one.
See, when it comes to dealing with Jordan White, when I played the midfield player, centre halves used to pull you back onto their toes so that you were there. Scott Brown was brilliant at it when he was here for Celtic, where if he was here today, he would be standing on Jordan White's toes and doing half the centre half's job for him, because he's really the biggest threat every time it comes up. Starfelt doesn't know what to do with him, and he should give himself a wee bit of protection.
And that then allows Starfelt to drop off. You know, yes, you put the midfielder there so he can't bring the ball down, but then Starfelt can be 10 yards off him, and if Jordan White flicks it, he flicks it onto him, as opposed to he goes really tight with him, and he's taken out the game almost every single long ball.
Greg Taylor in a bit of pain, but he's going to continue, I think. It's that right shin. County have a free kick. David Cancola swings it in. Starfield won the header. Collected by Sims. Lofts it back in on the half volley, but everyone else had pushed out, and that's an unchallenged catch for Joe Hart. And Taylor back on the pitch. Celtic back to their full complement. 1-0 they lead, but they're being set a much stiffer challenge at the moment. And Cancola is right on top of Taylor, who's still not moving too well as he tried to play that one down the line. It's gone out for a throw-in.
Yeah, and in fairness to County, they're man for man at the back. You know, when they press Celtic high up the pitch, they go man for man, which you have to do. It's a bit of a risk if Celtic just flick one round the corner to Kyogo or Maeda, as we see there.
Yeah, round the corner from Matt O'Reilly for Maeda, and he's away from Dylan Smith, and he's racing into the box. Dyson Maeda cuts it back for Kyogo, and he's missed an absolute sitter, and it would have been a goal that would surely have sealed the win here for Celtic. And unbelievably, when you consider his ability to put the ball in the back of the net, Kyogo has missed.
I think if he passes it to Jota, he's got he's taken the goalkeeper out of the game, and Jota's got more of a tap in. You still expect Kyogo to score that, but the young boy just showed his inexperience for the first time there, going to ground when he did.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. They're man for man when they've got a press on. You've got Kyogo who's quick and sharp, but you've got Maeda who's absolutely electric, and you see it there.
Flick on by Jordan White. Sims is in on the end of it, heading for the byline right hand side. Well, he's been a real live wire, hasn't he, since coming off the bench?
Yeah, I think he's just giving them a bit of energy. You know, Edwards was okay, but I think Sims has been sharper. He kind of plays around where the ball is. He knows where the flick on is going to come from. But what interests me is what we're just discussing about. Why don't Celtic drop off when the ball goes up in the air? You know Jordan White's going to win the ball, and they'll just go up in the same line. That ball there, he flicks it on, and Sims nearly gets in. I think obviously it looks like Greg Taylor's going to have to come off.
Yeah, and it's going to be Alexandro Bernabé presumably coming on to deputise in that position to replace the Scotland international, who took that bang on the shin, and he's never really looked quite comfortable.
It looked like it was his thigh he was holding. He's maybe got a dead leg.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, it's a real good game this half. Real good game.
Yeah.
It's been end to end, and Celtic have been able to counter-attack more than they could in the first half, but County certainly gave a good account of themselves, that's for sure.
It wasn't really too competitive at all, was it, first half? But we've got a game at the moment, and County have to get a big boost from that miss by Kyogo.
Yeah, the difficulty for Ross County is you don't want to go after Celtic and press them too early in the game, because they can pick you off, as we've seen there, and they should, County have been better in the second half, but Celtic should be winning 2-0. So it is a risk when you press them too early, but it is making for a better, more entertaining game, because Celtic don't look comfortable at the back, they don't look confident, and County have had chances, but obviously on the counter-attack Celtic will look dangerous.
On comes Bernabé for Taylor, and County have a corner kick right hand side. Could have been 2-0 Celtic. County hoping it might be 1-1. George Harman to deliver from the corner kick, fired in at the near post. Matt O'Reilly heads it away, out for a throw-in.
Malky will be raging with that corner.
Yeah,
it's hard enough to get a corner without hitting the front post, man, that's for sure. Here's a long throw coming again.
Bernabé comes on, and he's instantly marking Cancola. There's a huge advantage they've got there.
The ball coming off Maeda on its way out of play, and Malky Mackay saying that's handball.
I don't understand that.
Back with Dylan Smith to play it forward.
I get. Right, okay, it probably was handball, but you've still got the ball from a throw-in, and it's not like it's in the box or the edge of the box. It's like on the touchline, 50 yards from goal. It's not like it's a big decision, and they've got the ball anyway.
I was just thinking what a big break that was for the youngster Dylan Smith, that Celtic didn't score that second goal, because it was he who breached in against Maeda, committed himself, and that's where the problem came from. And thankfully for the youngster, Kyogo missed.
Yeah, I think he was always struggling for pace. I think the Maeda had him and you can see from 10 yards away that he had him, and instead of trying to get his body across and slowing Maeda down, he goes to ground, and he gets very lucky, because one, if he catches Maeda, he's probably at least getting booked, possibly worse, and two, they should have scored.
He's involved again, Smith, as he tries to cope with the movement of Kyogo up front, and that takes a bit of doing. But the only goal so far belongs to Jota from the penalty spot, last action of the first half. That's still the difference between these teams. Bernabe, the substitute, rolls it through for Kyogo, edge of the area, sliding in again with Smith, taking a big chance. Kyogo has the ball on the byline, rolls it in, cleared by Iacovitti, out for the throw.
He's inexperienced again.
I mean, he wins the ball just, but you don't want him to be going to ground in those situations, because he'll miss time one soon and give away a penalty.
Iwata for Bernabe, fires it inside to Carter Vickers. Pressurising was White. Back it goes to Hart. Joe Hart fires it forward, and Conor Randall heads the ball away. Flicked on by Cancola. McGregor is there to roll it back towards Bernabe. In goes Laturi, and the ball goes out close to us for a Celtic throw. Ross County 0, Celtic 1. Bernabe's throw down the line, bouncing beyond Randall. O'Reilly weaving one way then the other, cuts the ball back, and it was Jota coming in, who had a shot deflected behind for the corner.
Brilliant from O'Reilly. He ties Randall in absolute knots. He doesn't know if he's coming or going. Great composure, good cut back, and then I think there's a county player just gets a nick on the ball, takes it wide.
Just signs that Celtic are upping the ante again, looking for that second goal. Here's the corner kick, O'Reilly, outswinger, and Starfelt got his head to it, but never with a body position that was going to get that effort on target. Celtic, though, retain possession with Iwata into the central area, and Bernabe driving with the ball and rolling it wide to Maeda against Harmon. Back inside to Tomoki Iwata. Alistair Johnston rolls it back towards Carl Starfeld, stepping away from Brophy, running with the ball, then clips it for Iwata. Johnston rolls it right side for Jota. Never quite know whether it's going to be right foot or left foot when Jota is on the ball. Here he is again with a flick for Johnston, and fired it in right across the face of goal. Maeda came flying in at the back post, unable to make any contact, but what a delivery that was from Johnston.
Outstanding again. Maeda does his best.
Hard one for a minute.
Yeah, he does get in there before the defender, but it was just fired too hard for him.
Terrific ball right across the bows of Laidlaw's goal, and despite Maeda's best efforts, couldn't get a touch on it, and the scoreline remains 1-0 Celtic.
I think Bernabe is the first Celtic player that's beat Jordan White in the air there. He's the weakest guy in the pitch.
Yeah, it looks like he would need a ladder to get up that high. The ball is out just in front of Malky Mackay's technical area. The county manager in consultation with Don Cowie at the moment about what to do next. Certainly Sims off the bench has done exactly what was required. A flick on by White for County. Starfelt tried to clear, but it was taken away from him by Sims, and he almost set something up there for the home team. They must feel they're in with a chance. McGregor losing possession. Great challenge by Randall, and he rolled it in looking for White, but all he found was Cameron Carter-Vickers clearing for Celtic, and now they drive forward with the captain McGregor, who was having his shirt pulled, but he got his pass away to Maeda, and he's on the end of a return ball from the Japanese striker, and his cutback is blocked by the youngster Smith behind for the corner kick.
He's just not far enough in front of him from Maeda. I think McGregor makes a fantastic run, shows great power and pace, and he just needs the ball played in front of him, and then he's got a simple ball across the box, but it's a little bit behind him, and therefore he struggles to get a decent connection on it, and I think it's Smith, like you say, gets back. But devastating break from Celtic, a couple of 1-2s there between Maeda and McGregor, and they're at your back line. But these are the chances that County are going to need to take if they want to get back in this game.
It's a key phase in the game as Ross County push to try to get a leveller. They've been better second half, considerably better, but Celtic want to close them out. And a second goal, you feel, would do just that. This corner kick is on the left-hand side for Celtic. They're about to make, well, a couple of changes at least. Haksabanovic, I think, is coming on. David Turnbull too. Here's the corner kick in from Jota. Iacovitti got his head to it. And now Kanté looked to break with Sims. But he's just swatted aside by Iwata. Gives the ball to Bernabé. And Bernabé trying to dribble between a couple of Kanté players, which wasn't a great idea, losing possession, and then has to cover across and force the ball out of play against Jordan White. So O is coming on for Celtic as well, having been away on international duty with Korea. Meantime, Loturi to Sims and back for Kanté. Then his pass, Loturi, is blocked off by O'Reilly, and when O'Reilly tried to play in Kyogo, there was a really good interception, important by Harman.
He tries to be too precise. He's got so much space. Kyogo's away, and he tries to find his feet with the ball.
Here's Matt O'Reilly again, and again it was a really precise, carefully played pass, but it didn't find either Maida or Kyogo.
No, he's caught in two minds there, isn't he?
It's a real wide open game now, because Celtic are getting spaces now that they didn't have in the first half, and Ross County look as though they could score a goal.
So Haksabanovic, O and Turnbull all standing by, and Simon Murray for Ross County is going to be on as well shortly, as Loturi wins the ball in the midfield and Sims rolls it out wide for Eamon Brophy. Support arriving from Randall, but it's Brophy with a cross ball into the box, and Johnston will clear for Celtic, and he just really thumped it down the right hand side and expected Kyogo to go chasing, which he will do. But County representing much more of an issue for Celtic than they did, that's for sure. Good play from Loturi, turns inside, left hand side, then the cross ball is disappointing from the County midfielder. Brophy was at the back post, it went in beyond him. It was good play initially to work the opening, Victor Loturi, then it needed a better ball in.
Yeah, it's brilliant skill, and then he again, it's the same with the opportunity he had in the first half. Just help it into an area. He's trying to be too precise and he overhits it. Good luck with all these subs.
Thank you. David Kankula is off for Ross County. Awura off the bench, so he certainly supplies creative play in the attacking areas. Eamon Brophy is coming off to be replaced by Simon Murray. Brophy looking none too chuffed about getting the hook, and Malky Mackay having a word before he disappears into the seating behind the technical area. Here come the Celtic changes, end of the match for Kyogo, having missed that sitter by his standards. So O is on, Maida is off, and Matt O'Reilly is coming off too. Turnbull and Haksabanovic just standing by to get themselves involved. All change, but the scoreline remains the same. Ross County 0, Celtic 1.
Not bad subs to bring on from Celtic there. I mean, decent enough for County as well, but you know, when Celtic are looking to go and win the game, they bring on Turnbull, Haksabanovic. You know, it just shows you how deep their squad is.
Good play by Harman for County. He's a 100%er for them, that's for sure. Whether he plays in the left back position, left wing back sometimes.
Simon Murray gives him another physical approach up top, so it'll be interesting to see how him and Jordan White get on now.
Just the one goal so far for Simon Murray since moving from Queen's Park, where he'd amassed a fairly healthy total as well. Forward it goes for Celtic, headed away by Dylan Smith. On it, Jota, and he curls the ball wide to Haksabanovic. Left side of the box, rolls it in front for Celtic to have a chance for O. Couple of efforts from O, and out came the goalkeeper to save the second one. It was a defender flying in front of the first effort at goal. Then it was Laidlaw out very quickly on top of the Korean striker to stop Celtic making it 2.
Yeah, it was devastating from Celtic, wasn't it? It was a ball forward. Jota takes it, the ball's kind of behind him between his feet. Lovely bit of skill to take it, fires a great ball out to Haksabanovic. and then it's a good run from Bernabe. I think he should just shoot. He tries to cut it back, but I think he's far enough forward that he can actually just shoot.
Here's Bernabe again with a run. He's shaking off the attentions of Owura, who's pulling his shirt. And finally he is stopped by Randall, and Owura can play a pass to Sims on the left-hand side for County.
I tell you what, Owura looks knackered already.
It's a ball through for Kenna from Sims, and he looked really surprised that it was coming his way, the on-loan Hibs midfielder, and it runs through to Joe Hart in the end.
If I'm Malky Mackay and I'm putting a sub on, I'm expecting a little bit more from him early doors. I mean, Bernabe walks past him, and then he labours getting back, and then they win the ball back, it turns over, and then he labours getting forward again, and now he actually looks like he's really breathing already. Just to find that second wind.
Malky's getting on to him.
The ball's out on the far side, right-hand side for Celtic. Johnston takes the throw in. David Turnbull getting some minutes. Back it goes from Carter Vickers to Hart, and then across to the left for Starfelt. His pass for Iwata, and on the touchline left-hand side, Haksabanovic. Back it goes to Bernabe. Owura tries to get close inside for Turnbull. Lovely flick back to him from Iwata, and the ball ends up with Haksabanovic losing his footing for a moment, recovering in time. Gets the ball back from Bernabe. Triangle of passes on this left side involving now Turnbull as well, and he's shut down in the end by Owura, and the ball is out for a Celtic throw, and still the Jota penalty is the only goal of the game. Celtic looking to put a little bit more distance between themselves and the teams struggling at the foot of the Premiership. Only Dundee United are below them. Victor Laturi hooks a ball in behind Starfelt for Jordan White to chase. There's wrestling going on between the pair of them, and the ball in the end is going to trundle behind for a goal kick.
I think credit where credit's due for Starfelt there. He was strong, he was quick, and good refereeing. I'll often say that about Willie, but that was good.
I think if Jordan White actually controls the ball, then gets wrestled to the floor, but he's never in control of the ball, and Starfelt, he's caught wrong side initially, but his recovery pace is good and good strength.
And I think the grappling was 6 1/2, wasn't it? Probably.
Yeah, I mean, and that's you're going to get that as part of the game.
Lovely touch and turn by O. And now he's off and running. He's away from Smith. He's up to the edge of the box, and he fires his shot wide of target. You were looking for that to be nestling in the bottom corner. The Celtic fans behind that goal were certainly looking for it to be nestling. It's gone wide. It stays 1-0.
Yeah, it's brilliant from O, but it's. I think Jakovic is kind of hung Smith out to dry a little bit there. He's left him 1v1. He gets too tight, and O's able to turn him with his first touch. But then there's no cover. It's like he's a young guy. You got to help him out. Maybe Jakovic should be the one to go tight with him and allow Smith to cover over. But fantastic play from O, and unlucky with the shot. Didn't find the back of the net.
But no, that's tight, Richard. That was too tight. They should be touched. You know what I mean? They should be coaching the boy to say, look, you're too tight there, because he wants to feel him. The boy always strong boy.
Steep learning curve, doesn't quite cover it, I don't think, for Dylan Smith today.
No, he's not gonna have a harder game all season. You wouldn't have thought. But clearly he's looked composed for most of the game. Second half, as the game gets stretched, it's been a bit more difficult for him. But he's certainly not looked out of place in that County defence, and he's obviously got a bright future. But I mean, a tough game from here.
Ross County get a fair bit of credit for what they're doing here second half, and Bernabe's lost it again, very casual again, and Owura picked his pocket and then aimed across into the box, and here he goes again, the number 7 for County off the bench, losing it in the end. Laturi tries to win it back, but the ball goes out off him, and it will be a Celtic throw-in.
You feel as though Celtic need to get a second goal, otherwise Ross County might get something at some point. So it makes for a really good game. That's what it's been.
Well, they're exactly where they would want to be in the game.
This is a joke, honestly.
Ross County hanging on in there, just a goal behind.
This is a joke.
One of the most pointless things in football.
Yellow card for Malky Mackay.
The best bit is here. Even if Malky gets sent to the stand, he's only about 5 feet behind where he's currently standing anyway.
Probably gets a better view, actually.
It's not that. He made a complaint about a jersey pull, and Mike Ronconi, I mean, I'm saying nothing else about Mike Ronconi. He's not my favourite referee.
Do you have a favourite?
Certainly he's not, that's for sure.
The ball played forward and flicked in behind Smith for Haksabanovic. It was good play again from O, getting involved in the build-up. Haksabanovic against Owura, and it's good play from Owura. He was aggressive, he was strong, he won the ball and he's come away with it for Ross County. Really good play, and he's clipped one across the pitch for Josh Sims, and suddenly Ross County are on the attack and they're trying to get bodies forward as Sims cuts inside and then squares it again to Owura, who won the ball back at the other end of the pitch. His cross ball in, back post, what a chance, and it was Josh Sims.
He's got to leave it.
Yeah, he climbed for the header. Simon Murray was there with a better chance, and he was just looking for a shout with Sims, and he was climbing unsuccessfully for the header, and it went too high.
Again, I think if he scores that, they pull it back and they give a free kick against Owura, because he actually does pull Haksibanovic's shirt. Clearly Willie just plays on, because Malky was moaning about one the other way around about a minute before it. So again there, that's a foul all day long. He's just dragged him to the floor.
On the halfway line, Iwata for Celtic. In front of him, David Turnbull. There'll be relief as much as delight if Celtic can score a second, because they just want to get this put to bed. Johnston gets in behind, fires another ball across goal, flicked away by Conor Randall. Can Owura keep it in? Not quite.
It's another fantastic delivery from Johnston.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it's good defending from Randall at the back post. He just gets a flick on it and takes it away from Haksabanovic.
He just keeps on charging down that right-hand side, Alistair Johnston, and launching inviting balls into the 6-yard box.
There's obviously a check here for something as well.
Yeah, VAR is having a consideration here towards another incident, but we move on. And it's a Celtic throw in midway inside the county half. Left-hand side, Bernabe gets it back from Turnbull. And further back to Starfelt on halfway. His square pass to Cameron Carter-Vickers. Ross County wondering, and their fans, if they can get something out of this game. Ross Callaghan's going to be on soon. Forward goes the Celtic skipper, Callum McGregor. Haksabanovic inside, and Bernabe, left side of the box, curls one across, and it's behind Jota. And it's going to go out on the far side for a throw.
If they'd scored that, I think Malky would have taken Owura back off. His attempt at a tackle was pathetic, and Malky was absolutely raging.
You can tell that's why he never started, for his defensive qualities.
Yeah.
And yet not so long ago, he did a great bit of ball winning down here against Haksabanovic, but not that time.
It was a foul, Rob.
Is that what you call it in your? Okay. Ross Callaghan's on. Victor Laturi is off. And we're still 1-0 Celtic on BBC Radio Scotland. Still on target, on course to reopen that 9-point advantage over Rangers and go a step closer to the title with the Old Firm game to come next weekend. But it's not finished here. Ross County retain hopes. They wouldn't have had much hope based on their first half performance, but certainly they have been a team transformed since the interval. They'll be much happier with how competitive they've been in the second half, but they don't really want a pat in the head. They'd like to pick up a point. Starfelt plays it towards Haksabanovic, headed away by Randall. Owura down the line for Callaghan, his first touch, and he can drive forward. Simon Murray's waiting in the box. It's played in, it's behind both Murray and White. And it's comfortable for Celtic to get it away. Needed a better ball in.
He just gets his head down, and he doesn't see. Simon Murray actually kind of angles off and makes a decent offer for him, but Ross just puts his head down and charges in, and he's usually got better quality than that, but he couldn't pick anyone out.
Turnbull right hand side for Celtic, heading towards the byline. Across went Smith, prodded away. It's not clear yet. It is now, as Kenna gets involved, forces it away. There's some tired legs out there as Celtic look to get what would be a killer second goal. Still just Jota's penalty on the score sheet. Bernabe clips one down the line over the top of Randall for Haksabanovic. Back goes Conor Randall, sliding in to hold up Hakshabanovic's progress. Back for Bernabe. working the 1-2. Haksabanovic on the byline, turns back, looking to get the ball into the danger zone. Scrambled away by Ross County again. The Celtic fans behind that goal are desperate to see the ball in the back of the net. There was a late challenge on Randall.
He doesn't catch him.
And Callaghan is down on the byline.
This one looks, this one doesn't look good at all. Just because the way he instantly goes down, he's going to. Ross Laidlaw's signalling he has to come off. This is not a nice situation here.
It looked like one of the serious injuries that you can get sometimes. There wasn't much contact, like maybe these studs in the grass or something like that.
Yeah, immediately Alex Iacovitti, the captain, was over and frantically signalling to the touchline to get the medical team on for Ross Callaghan. He's only been on the pitch a matter of minutes, and he's not going to be continuing, it seems. And we still are in that.
They've only had 2 stoppages, haven't they?
Yeah.
So they're able to.
We're still in that area of uncertainty in terms of where this match is going to go. Are Celtic going to see it out at 1-0? Are they going to get the goal that makes it comfortable for them? Or are Ross County going to get something out of this, Jim?
It's touch and go still. I always think if you want to play Celtic and Rangers, it's better after an international break. And I think Celtic's in that area of the game now where if they're going to be vulnerable, this could be the time. They've not had the players in for a couple of weeks. Some of them will be tired for travelling, and Ross County, they've now got really good shape about them, and they've got a goal threat about them. So the Celtic will be happy to, even if they're just winning 1-0 now. We're talking about getting a second goal, but I think they'd be happy to go down the road with one.
I think it's all about how he planted his ankle, how he planted his boot, at least, and the pressure he put on his ankle there, Ross Callaghan. But it's good to see him back on his feet.
His knees holding, I think. They've signalled, like, straight away, Iacovitti was like, you need to take him off.
Yeah.
And nobody's got ready on the bench.
No. Well, I think there was a thumbs up maybe from the physio to say that he's going to possibly come back on, which looked longer than a long shot not so long ago. Celtic,
that's what I thought.
Celtic on the attack, and it's Jota who floats one back post beyond Haksabanovic, but he can collect it on the touchline. Left hand side now, back into the danger zone. Tried to lay it off to Turnbull, it didn't come off for the Korean, and it's ended up in the gloves of the goalkeeper. And Ross Laidlaw launches it downfield towards Jordan White, headed out of play by Carl Starfelt.
It was really good play for Celtic there. Just unlucky that never get his layoff, because it's third man running, hard to play against.
Back to Randall from Sims. Josh Sims again tried to thread a pass through, cut out by Iwata, and now Celtic break, and County have defending to do. Smith sliding in against managed to hold him up, but he gets the ball to David Turnbull, 25 yards out. Good hit from the Celtic substitute, but it was straight at Laidlaw, powerful, but the goalkeeper managed to hold on to it. And quickly up to Jordan White, and now Simon Murray heading for the byline. He clips it back, did really well, cleared by McGregor, and Murray can keep this in on the right hand side and play in a cross ball, and it's a diving header away from Starfelt. Celtic being put under the sort of pressure that was not happening at all first half. Owura, and a really poor pass from Owura. It was simple to play out wide to Simon Murray, but he managed to rush it and get it all wrong.
That's a fantastic position to be in. He could even have turned and ran in himself if he gets a shout, but that's a total waste. Celtic are under some pressure there.
But County have 10 men.
Yeah, I know. But Starfelt again there with a long kick out. He lets the ball bounce, and as soon as he lets it bounce, he's in trouble.
The expression on Malky Mackay's face told all as that pass went AWOL from Owura. McGregor plays it forward, Smith returns it, Turnbull forward towards in goes Iacovitti. Hooks it forward, Harman's header away. 8 minutes being added on as Celtic go in hunt of a second goal. to kill this game. It's Jota at the edge of the box, back off the crossbar. Brilliant dipping strike from Jota, and it was almost a double and Dingwall for him, denied by the frame of the goal. It stays 1-0.
Oh, that was ridiculous. When he first hit that, I thought it's gone over comfortably. Unbelievable dip, he gets on it on his weak foot, fantastic effort, and so unlucky not to score.
Here comes Celtic again with Callum McGregor on the drive. Across for Haksabanovic at the edge of the area. Is it going to be this time? No. Way over the top.
That's usually a standard finish for him.
Yep.
Cutting in his right hand side and just curling it in. A terrific game, it's been really good.
Tell you what, I don't think Awura Edwards will be starting the next game. That's for sure.
I think he might be wise to avoid the manager for a little while.
He's actually just told him he needs to come back over this side and stand beside him.
Yeah. Sensibly, Awura is keeping well clear of Malky Mackay. Header away from Carter Vickers. Then it's the youngster Smith for Canty. Haksabanovic lofts it in behind Harmon, or tries to, and an exhausted looking Harmon managed to just prod that ball away from Jota and get it behind. Celtic have a corner kick. Another opportunity to add to the penalty, converted by Jota right at the end of the first half.
You think Celtic would want to waste time? They're sprinting there to take corners.
But then, to be fair, if you're a county player, that breaks your heart, doesn't it? You know, 8 minutes kills you. I know they're trying to get back in the game, but it's horrible. Even when you tackle the Celtic players, the ball doesn't tend to get out the pitch.
8 minutes added, and Ross County playing with 10 men. They take a fair few plaudits, don't they, from the second half, the home team?
Yeah, they do, and you know, Malky organises his teams well, but again, at the end of the day, it doesn't look like they're going to take anything from the game, and that's at this stage of the season, that's what you need. You need points, like we said. Psychologically, it would be a huge point to take from the game. You know, for Dundee United, for Kilmarnock, they'd be devastated.
In comes the throw in from Johnston, and just holding off the challenge of Smith on the turn, getting the shot away, didn't carry too much menace. Saved by Laidlaw. Forward it goes, looking for Simon Murray. Carter Vickers is there for Celtic. Johnston now to Turnbull. Iwata alongside him. Bernabei on the move. Bernabei threads it through. It's left side of the box, sliding in Smith to block the cutback, but it's again who curls it towards the far post, gets away from Turnbull, and across goes Sims, and the ball goes behind in the end for another Celtic corner kick.
Yeah, it's just waves of attack now, isn't it? They can't get out, and no wonder. Great little pass from Bernabei there through. Does really well, stands the ball up, and I think if Turnbull sets it back, I think Iwata's spare, isn't he? But he tries to take a touch and doesn't get it right.
So the ball not really moving too far from the corner flag between Turnbull and Jota. David Turnbull still has it. Now Jota cuts it back. The step over from Haksabanovic. Nobody immediately behind him, but Bernabei was there eventually, and he lashes a left footer past Laidlaw and seals the Celtic win, which reopens that 9-point gap at the top of the Premiership. Celtic go a step closer to the title, and it's Bernabei who scores his first goal for Celtic, and it was spectacular.
What a strike that is. Catches it flush. We've seen a couple of shots from the edge of the box that went high or wide. That he just absolutely blasts it right into the top corner. Fantastic strike. I thought he was going to hit it first time. Takes a touch, composes himself, and unleashes an unstoppable shot into the back of the net. Fantastic goal.
Well, this is going to be a big moment for one of the Celtic youngsters, Rocco Vata, a very famous surname in Celtic circles, son of Rudy Vata, and he's going to come off the bench if there's time to get him on here, wearing 69.
You could see as soon as the goal went in, Ange Postecoglou was wanting him on. He's obviously been desperate to get him some minutes under his belt.
Going to be Jota who comes off. And Rocco Vata comes on. Jota, who scored that penalty, last kick of the first half. And it's taken Celtic most of the second half to get their second. County have made it tough for them. But in the end, Alexandro Bernabei getting himself on the score sheet. Ross County 0, Celtic 2. Bernabei again intercepting as Ross County tried to get forward. Randall prods it towards Sims but loses possession in the process. The game's gone now for Ross County. They had those lingering hopes that they might just be able to salvage something, get a point out of this, but that all vanished as the ball flashed past Laidlaw off the left boot of Alexandro Bernabei. And while they can take plenty of encouragement with their second half performance here, it doesn't add to the points total, and they will remain 2 points behind, 2 points ahead of Dundee United, I should say, and 4 behind Kilmarnock, currently in that relegation playoff position. Big games to come for County, of course, in Perth next, here against Aberdeen, then Tynecastle against Hearts. Massive matches as Malky Mackay looks to keep his team in the top flight. They've been a different prospect second half, they've made Celtic much more uncomfortable, but unable to make it count in the attacking areas, and finally picked off by that second goal for Celtic, scored by Bernabei. McGregor flicks it forward to the scorer of goal number 2, and now Haksabanovic is driving forward with Bernabei outside him. Here's Bernabei to roll it across goal, and O is looking to add to his Celtic goals tally, sliding into the near post. It got away from him and it's gone behind for the goal kick.
Yeah, I think Vata's at the back post as well. I think he just puts a little bit too much on the cross, just kind of put it in the area and allow the players to go and attack it. I mean, it's a decent ball, but he doesn't allow his players to get across. But it would have been fantastic for Vata to get his first goal for Celtic.
Bernabei's done well since he came on, to be fair to him. He's not the best of starts to his Celtic career, but I tell you, he's made a wee difference. I mean, Greg Taylor still played well, but he's come on and he's had an impact, certainly going forward.
Celtic have 15 wins on the bounce. It's their longest winning run since 2017, when they put 17 together under Brendan Rodgers' management. And it's a win that takes them another step towards the title. They can make another significant move next weekend if they can beat Rangers and extend that 9-point advantage at the top. After this, there are only 8 games to go, 3 before the split, as Celtic close in on another title. Made to work hard here in Dingwall. It was plain sailing for Celtic first half, and they were frustrated at their inability to create and take chances in that first half. It took till the final kick of the first half before they went in front. Greg Taylor would rattle the right footer against the post. Laidlaw made a couple of good saves before handball was given courtesy of VAR against Iacovitti, and the ball was hammered down the middle by Jota for his 12th goal of the season. County much more competitive second half, pressing aggressively, making life much more uncomfortable for the Premiership leaders, but unable really to do enough with the possession and the territory that they had. But it did take Celtic into stoppage time in the second half before they struck again, and it was Alexandro Bernabei lashing in a left footer to remove any doubt about the outcome. Greg Taylor had gone close in the first half with a shot which came back off the post. Jota hit the crossbar second half, but it was his penalty and Bernabei's second which sealed this result for Celtic in Dingwall. It's 9 points of a difference again at the top. 8 games to go. Ross County 0, Celtic 2.
On digital radio.